Hey y'all, it's Danielle from Black Business Boom and Black Owned Nashville, and we are live with our industry expert in personal injury law. And Amy is just an amazing attorney with a wealth of knowledge. So I'm super excited to have her on the team and to have her coming to us monthly and educating us about personal injury law. And this month, we're going to be talking specifically about why it's important that you actually choose an attorney who specializes in personal injury law. So really excited to be talking about this. It's something that I just don't know a lot about. And so I'm assume that a lot of folks don't know anything about, and we don't go looking for a personal injury attorney until something bad happens. And so I'm happy that we are educating folks in advance and making sure that they have the knowledge that they need in order to choose the right attorney. Welcome, Amy. How are you?
I'm doing great, Danielle. How are you today?
I am fantastic. Can't complain at all. Fresh off of vacation. So
Nice. I wish.
oh, yeah, got to take that time off. But I'm happy to be back again and happy to be chatting with you and really trying to pour into the community and make sure that we're educating the community about these things. So let's jump into it. Personal injury law. This is something that many of us don't know a lot about. And again, we don't even seek out an attorney until something really bad happens. And so I want to make sure that we are educating in advance. So tell us, what is the importance of us actually choosing the right type of lawyer when we may run into a car accident or a slip and fall or whatever it may be? What's the importance in us actually choosing someone who specializes in personal injury law?
Well, in the past couple of months, I had two or three people come to me, and I really couldn't help them at this point because they had chosen other attorneys prior to coming to my office that were not personal injury lawyers, or they may have done personal injury on the side. And procedurally, there were just some things that were wrong and could have been avoided had they come to someone who really specializes in that. A lot of people don't necessarily realize, but in law school, you don't have like a major or anything. So we choose our own specialties at our own. I could tell you tomorrow that I do family law, but I don't know anything about it. There are some ethical obligations to make yourself, know enough to do it. But it just seems to me that the more you do it, the more you practice on your craft, the better that you are. So we really try to keep ourselves up on all the law, the nuances of the law in regards to personal injury, because that's all that we specialize in. So I'm just going to give you guys a couple of examples about those people. The one party was in a car that did not have any insurance. She was hit by someone who didn't have any insurance. But there is a little known exception called the resident relative exception, which means that if I'm in that situation where there's no insurance and I live with someone who has insurance, just live with them. I don't have to be on their policy. I don't have to be related to them. We just live in the same household. Then their uninsured motorist coverage will kick in and cover me. This person, we actually had a good outcome. She had gone to two other lawyers that said they could not help her just because they didn't know about this exception. And I said, I think we can do something for you. And we were able to get her $30,000 on her case that she had been sent away by two people that just didn't
Man,
know.
I'm like, that is amazing. Like, I had
Right.
no idea. So you telling me if I live with someone and they have an uninsured motorist policy and I don't have insurance, get in an accident, the other person doesn't have insurance, there is an exception that may allow me to get some sort of payout to
Yes.
help me.
Yes. And we weren't able to get her car fixed because the car wasn't insured, but she got the injury money for her. And she did end up going to use some of that to buy a new car. So, but she had just been shut down by these, people that are saying that they do personal injury, but they don't know those little nuances. So it's very important to have someone that knows those small little rules, because you better believe the insurance company knows them. They're not going to tell you. So you need to have someone that advocates for you. The other situation that I ran across was this woman who was very nice, and she came to my office just desperate. Her case had been in litigation for years, and they were telling her she wasn't going to get any money. And I said, well, how did you end up situated this way? So I knew I couldn't take her case at that point, but I had her come in and I looked at everything. And I said, well, she said, I knew my lawyer didn't do personal injury. He was a criminal lawyer, but he was just somebody that I knew. So
Oh no.
everything from beginning to the end was messed up. Like she had all these medical bills, and generally, like we would send our clients to treat with a provider that wouldn't charge them up front, that they would take the money out of the settlement on what's called a lien if they didn't have health insurance. But this person had been taking out personal loans to get the medical treatment, paying it on
Oh
credit cards.
no.
There was no way she should have been allowed to do those things. But I guess the attorney didn't have the knowledge or relationship with providers that a personal injury lawyer would have to send her to doctors that will treat her on an injury basis. So she's sitting out some years from the accident with a offer that's essentially zero. And there's nothing that can be done at this point just because everything has been messed up. So
Oh gosh.
sometimes we can save you like the first accident, but sometimes we can't. So it's really just important, like when you're choosing a lawyer, call around. Most all personal injury attorneys give free consultations. See who you're comfortable with, ask them what other things that they do. And I'm certainly not saying that a lawyer can't have more than one practice area, but you want to know how often do they handle personal injury, and how often they study these things, or to get just well abreast on what is coming out in the law, those little known things that can make or break your case. So,
Yeah, that's really great information. And we were just chatting with Stacy Coleman from Arbitrage Brokerage about interviewing your real estate agent. Before you commit to a real estate agent, you can interview and ask people questions. And so this is another case where you should be asking some questions. Many times we're just going with, like you said, whoever we know or someone that was referred to us or who we may have even seen on a commercial or something like that. It's
mhm,
an industry where whoever's the loudest, you just remember,
exactly.
like, I've seen them on a commercial. I'm gonna call them. But we really could be interviewing and making sure we find the right person. Uh-oh, you cut out for a second, Amy. So tell us a little bit about, like, what should we be asking before we commit to working with a personal injury attorney? What are some of the questions that we should make sure that we're asking?
I would ask how long they've been doing personal injury and what other practice areas they do. Like some practice areas go hand in hand, like workers' comp and personal injury. But if they're doing 15 other things, unless you're like the small town lawyer, you get the town's lawyer in those situations.
Mhm.
Not that many, so you just kind of have to do everything. But in a place like Nashville, I would be more comfortable with a person that really like had a specialty. I would not go to an estate attorney and ask them to get me out of jail. Like it just wouldn't make sense to do so. And this is no different. I would ask how they handle cases that have to go to trial, because some personal injury firms do not handle trial cases, and that does affect your value. While your case may not be one that is going to go to trial, the insurance companies keep records of who is willing to sue them. So if they know that you're not ever going to file a lawsuit, you're going to get a lower offer. So if you're with a firm that
Mm.
has a reputation that will fight for their clients, they're going to give you good offers off top. So then you
Okay.
have to go to court less. But you need to ask them, because some firms will say we send all of our litigation to firm down the street. You don't want to do that. So you don't want to
Okay.
go with that person.
Other than actually asking the questions and hoping that you get the answers and that they are the answers you're looking for, are there other places where we can go to learn about attorneys? Like, I know that we have like WebMD, we can learn about doctors before we work with a doctor, but are there places where we can go to learn more about an attorney, or to even learn about what their settlements have been in the past and things like that?
So most settlements are going to be not public knowledge.
Mm.
You can look at Google reviews, obviously, and there's a website called Avvo, AVVO, that is sort of like a WebMD. But the thing about it is, you can pay to be like listed higher. So I don't know how accurate it is. Like they
Okay.
are also an advertising vehicle for lawyers. So, you know, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. So
Okay. All
I
right.
think using your best instincts and looking at the Google reviews are probably going to be best because, as far as I know, you can't remove negative Google reviews. I think they're just there. So I will be looking for the person who had more positive than negative. And then I'm just really big on like, everybody is not a good fit for you. So talk to these people. Like you will know, like if you connect with them or you like how things are run at their firm. And it doesn't mean that they're bad or good or you are either. It's just that some people are not a good fit for people. Like most things in my firm are done digitally. So when I have older clients, it's sometimes hard for them. You know, we have ways around it, but you know, some of them are just like, I can't fill these papers out online. Like, so my clientele is generally like millennials or younger because they don't want to come to my office. They don't want to see me. They just want their money and go about their business.
Basically.
Right. So, you know, if you're one of those, I want to come into my office, like we allow that, but I know some firms don't allow that anymore, you know, after COVID and everything. Some people are completely remote. So you'll want to ask those things, know what your comfort level is and know what you like and need as a person. So if you
Now, I know
want
you
to,
also have to move pretty quickly. You know, like if
yes,
you have been in an accident, you want to move pretty quickly. So, but then you still want to find the right fit. So, how do we kind of find that balance between making sure that we move quickly so that we don't end up in a situation where we, don't get the outcome that we're looking for because we
yeah.
didn't take action, but then also find the right person? Any tips
I
on
would
that?
say no more than 2 days, but the consultations are 15 minutes or less. You could literally call
Mhm.
people and then, you know, you might be looking and get the good fit right away. But even just keep certain things in mind, even if you don't find an attorney right away. You want to be very aware of not giving detailed statements about your injuries to the insurance company. Keep it to the facts, keep it to just of things about the car and say that you're looking for an attorney and you're not going to speak on anything else at that point. So you can kind of hold them off. Don't wait until you get an attorney to get medical attention, especially if you're still shopping around. You at least need to have gone to the emergency room or an urgent care. And then also, if you get somebody and it's just not a good fit, you can fire them. Like, do it. You don't want to wait until like it's too far, like
Yeah.
the other lady that I mentioned, but you definitely can. You know, if you get in a few weeks, I just don't really like, you know, his or her style. You can always say, look, I don't want your assistance anymore. And generally, personal injury attorneys are paid on a contingency, which means we don't get paid unless you get paid. So at that point, you're probably not going to lose anything monetarily.
I
You
love
go
that.
first.
I would love for us to just do a whole chat around what to do if you're in an accident because I think a lot of
Yeah,
times we just, we're like, oh, I feel fine, and then we don't go to the doctor. And then next thing you know, 2 months later, you
it's a
don't feel
problem.
fine,
Yep.
and now you've
Yes.
missed out, So I think, a lot of people have never been in an accident and they don't
Mhm.
even know what the proper things are to do when that happens, to make sure that they're setting themselves up for the claim if they need to put one,
Right.
in and actually
Hmm.
get some money. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, that'll be our subject for next month.
Yeah,
That's a good
I love
one.
that. Fantastic. Now, if someone's out there right now and they've been in an accident or they're going through litigation, whatever it might be, or they feel like, the person I have, I don't know, and they just need some help. What is the best way for them to reach out to you and get that free consultation?
You can call us at 615-551-HURT, which is 615-551-4878. You can reach us on all social platforms, well, Instagram and Facebook at Nashville Injury Law and online at www.nashvilleinjurylawgroup.com.
Wonderful. This was great. A lot of wonderful information. I'm telling you, I had no idea, especially that first thing you told us about that exception if you're in the house with someone that has
Yeah,
uninsured motorist coverage. Like that is a great thing to know. And again, like you
it
said, the
is.
insurance companies, they'll know, but they're not going to tell
They're
you,
not going to tell you. They are not, they're not going to be like, hey, we will pay this if you just said this. No.
Yeah, like that's not going to happen. So I think it is really, really important that you have the right attorney. And like you said, someone who has that niche and that specialty that can help guide you through the process and has the experience in dealing with different situations. So we're excited and happy to have you in the community. I've tagged you several times over the last couple weeks because folks are dealing with these things happen, and so it's great to have someone who's there and ready and understands our community and willing to work with us. So we greatly appreciate you, Amy, and we'll see you again next month.